But first, a lot of us out there will be well and truly into the Christmas spirit. But along with the festive season often comes the ever-present worry of post-Christmas debt.
And how do you remove that worry and make sure you don't run into difficult financial issues? Well, we're joined by financial advisor Carl Lamb, who's going to clue us in on some of the things we can do to lessen the strain on our festive finances. Carl, thank you for coming in. Isn't this a bit of a bar humbug situation, watching what you're going to spend even before Christmas comes along?
It sounds a bit that way, doesn't it? But hopefully with the right form of planning, and then hopefully what we're trying to achieve is that you can enjoy Christmas even further by making sure your money goes that much extra.
Okay, and you've got some top tips for us, haven't you?
We're going to look at 5 of those today.
Okay, fantastic. Because the average person spends £350 every year around Christmas.
I don't think that's a lot.
I think that's a lot. So that's interesting because it must be different for every person. So where should you start when you're thinking about this?
Okay, I know we've got Christmas 2014 literally around the corner.
Yes.
But if we were to plan ahead and say, actually, ladies and gentlemen, what you should start to think about is 2015 as well. Already, I know, quite scary, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Is that to make sure that you put some money aside, whether it's a weekly basis, monthly basis, but make sure you're using accounts that give you a bit of extra interest or even better tax-free. So, for example, things like instant access, cash ISAs, where you know your money's going to work that bit harder for you, so you can buy that extra present for your loved one.
And those things like those cash ISAs, they're money you can take out instantly as and when you need them.
Correct.
They're not tied up, so you can get hold of your money.
Yeah, there are some ISAs that are tied up, but quite clearly, if you're planning for, I know it sounds quite strange, it's Christmas 2015, you'd want an account that gave you access either on a monthly basis, instant, or 6 months.
And these rates are going to be things you can absolutely talk to your bank about, basically. That's going to be the best place to go.
Or look in EDP. Yeah, look at all the
fantastic.
rates on a Saturday, they're all listed there as well.
Great stuff. Okay, what about number 2?
Number 2 is to budget accordingly.
Now that's my downfall.
That's the problem, isn't it? When you see something you want, can't help but buy it.
I know. What you have to remember is that December is still a month. You've still got your bills coming in. You've still got your mortgage payments for those of mortgages, obviously the cost of running a house. So those aren't going to go away. So I know it sounds like bar humbug, but as a financial advisor, our top tip would be quite clearly just to make sure you don't over-exceed your limit.
Yeah, and always kind of think what you can afford, times that by how many people you're buying for, that kind of thing.
And being a financial advisor, would you say it's quite a good idea to wait until after Christmas to the January sales as well? Give someone like an IOU present at Christmas.
Belated Christmas.
You've been talking to your wife, have you?
Yeah.
That's always a difficult one, isn't it? Because quite clearly you want your loved ones to enjoy the 25th, not wait till the 26th.
Oh, all right.
See, there we go. Told by a financial advisor, nonetheless.
Yeah, good answer.
Now, the third one, this is interesting because this is about how you can pay for your presents and the different options you have.
Yes, all of us these days, or certainly the vast majority of us, have credit cards. And for many of us, we've been with the same credit card company for years, because it's a bit like your hairdresser, people don't like changing. But obviously on the high street, there's so many tempting offers these days, just to make sure your credit card is working for you. Even if the interest rates are similar, you know, would you get extra air miles, or would you, if, for example, somebody, a particular department store, obviously we won't mention, will give you an extra bonus. You know, will it give you the extra mileage that you actually want to get something extra out of it, really?
And you're protected on your credit cards as well, aren't you? If you purchase something with insurance, if the item doesn't turn up, for instance.
Yes.
So you get the money back.
And do you find that then following Christmas you get people who are in trouble with the amount that they've spent on their credit cards? Is that a common problem or not so much?
It can be a problem. Yet it comes back to tip number 2, budgeting, really.
Yeah.
If you're basically spending as much as you can on your credit card to pay for Christmas, and ultimately you'll pay a hefty price, because quite clearly the interest rates are going to be charged on these cards. And what you have to be really careful about is not getting into a spiral form of debt, because once you start on the credit card, it becomes more and more difficult to come off that debt.
Totally. And of course then people get themselves into difficulty with kind of loan companies, which brings us nicely onto your 4th tip.
Yes, it is. As fancy as these ads may be, as far as loan companies are concerned, the top tip is don't go anywhere near them. Yeah, you are paying an exorbitant amount of money for a very short period of time for inevitably what tends to be a small loan as well.
Yeah.
So by the time you factor the interest, you could be paying 4 or 5 times for that small amount. So as tempting as it is, walk past the shop.
It's incredible, isn't it? Because you think how people are unaware of the interest rates until they get tied up into the deal.
Partly that, but I think
we just don't think about it. It's one of those worry about it later on.
But there's so much pressure on people these days to conform. You know, the media is saying you must be buying X, Y, and Z present. You know, your demand from your loved ones. So there's always that temptation to walk in, isn't there? Because you don't feel like you're letting somebody down. But actually, ultimately, you are paying a hefty price by using a payday loan.
Do you get people come in and ask about loan companies quite often? Is it a kind of thought process that people have?
We occasionally do get people come in that have suddenly found themselves, for whatever reason, they've walked through that door, what they thought was going to be a short-term loan, and 3-4 years later they're still not clear of it.
Yeah, and what about buy now, pay later deals? Is that something that, again, is a similar type of thing? You're just kind of putting it out of the way, aren't you? You're not really thinking about it.
So tip number 5 is, if something looks too good to be true, inevitably it is. So yes, they may be giving you a fantastic sofa that's got all the swish buttons, so you can watch all of your favourite programmes over the Christmas period. But ultimately, by the time you've factored in the repayment period over 3, 5, 6, 7 years, you're paying for it twice or sometimes 3 times over.
So it's basically awareness, isn't it, that you're promoting? Just know what you're getting yourself into. Where can people go to find more advice on all of these things?
Yet again, there's some good websites. People like ourselves, or just go to the bank, your building society, and just simply say, I'm not quite sure, is there somebody around that can help me on some form of basic cash flow modelling? But ultimately, I think in your heart of hearts if you're overstretching yourself. Yeah. And as much as you may not want to appear to be a Scrooge, stick to your limits, really.
Spend what you earn, as simple as that.
Yeah. Probably not everything that you earn.
Well, not everything. In general. I don't mean, just don't go over your limits.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great advice there, Carl. It was lovely to see you. Thank you for coming in.
And finally, the top tip is enjoy Christmas.
Enjoy
Thank you. Yes,
Christmas.
lovely, Carl. Thanks for coming in.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, that's all we've got for part 1, but never fear, Norfolk. We'll be back in just a tick when Dan Bancroft meets the cast of this year's Theatre Royal pantomime.
And we catch up with our property princess, Miss Caroline Culo.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes,
We're talking some tricky things today.
Always great value, isn't she?
We'll see you after the break.